Hi there everyone, Scapegoat Stephen back with another video match report for Guild Ball. So this was an 8-coach event we ran the other day, last Saturday in fact. Just a bit of a pre-Christmas laugh. I took part because we were short a person basically to make us to 8. So I've got just a couple of games I filmed while I was there. This first one is into Order. I don't believe I've played against Order since they have their changes with the Ball of Light, so we'll see if Seasoned Brisket and the rest of the Order can overcome Veteran Rage and the Union. Right, so we rolled off and in the end Order decided to receive. So coming down the left hand side you've got Grace with the Ball of Light, Seasoned Brisket, Pride, Veteran Fangtooth, Benediction, Seasoned Spigot. Coming down the right, Fangtooth, Rage, Grace, Minx who's kicking, Benediction and Coin. So Minx gets an accurate kick and re-rolls the scatter so it hits that barrier just over the halfway line. I was pretty happy with that, to be honest, because it forces someone to come close. You know, outside of dodges back, it gives me a target then as well for someone like Minx to go into and then run away from, I guess. So I'm going to start with Seasoned Spigot. He's going to go for a sprint and snap the ball. He's going to pass the ball to Grace, and unfortunately my opponent missed. I say unfortunately, I was quite happy with it, but obviously for him, he missed. Brisket decided to intercept, so no dodging off that particular pass. So I activate Coin, he jogs, and Bag of Coffers my Minx. Pride is going to put Predatory Graze up. Grace is going to Quick Foot Rage with Talisman, jog and Quick Foot my Fangtooth. My opponent then looks at, can he go get a goal with Brisket, and he realises he's going to have to do some passing or some route wanting to be able to do it, so it goes with activating Grace. Grace attempts to pass the Ball of Light to Seasoned Brisket and actually manages to miss, which is really unfortunate for him at this particular stage, especially given it's a tap-in and she's right next to her. So in the end he actually burns, after much deliberation, burns Grace's legendary to get the ball back and tries again and misses again. Bit heartbreaking really. The ball scattered just in front of Pride for that first one, and then the second time I think he goes behind, but again is snappable by Brisket on the intercept. So in the end decides to go Quick Foot Brisket and then jog to Talisman a Quick Foot onto Fangtooth, I believe, just to again increase his threat range because he's a pretty nasty big boy. So at this stage my opponent has no momentum, so I'm going to go with Minx. Minx is going to jog to within an inch of Spigot and make an attack. So we get a non-momentous 1 and a marked target to trigger resilience on Fangtooth. Then we get a momentous 1 damage dodge, followed by a momentous 2 damage dodge, followed by a momentous 1 damage dodge, and we go back to the shadows. So he's now a 2-2. He is in cover, which is why my success rate was not as high as I would have liked. My opponent decides to jog his Benediction. In response, I believe I jog my Benediction, but I've had some influence. I'll put Sturdy on Rage, just in case. My opponent then uses Brisket, so Brisket passes the Ball of Light to Spigot and then dodges off that pass, just to give her a bit of extra speed. She'll then sprint there and decides to Route 1 Grace, which is what she needs to do. Gets a little bit of movement forwards directly towards Grace, or just amending there on the camera. Just about in, so takes a shot and scores it. So it goes 4-0 up in favour of Union, but has basically given me Brisket. Although I think at this point my opponent forgets about unpredictable movement on Brisket. To be honest, I completely forgot as well. So the ball kicks out and scatters, and Fangtooth snaps it. I think basically my opponent knew that whichever model I went in with first, the other model would follow up anyway, so he might as well just let me have it. So Fangtooth jogs and attacks Brisket, gets nothing, followed by a momentous knockdown and a momentous 2. Had to be very careful here to make sure I stayed out of Veterans Fangtooth's threat range as well, because he will come in and cause me some damage. Unfortunately, as you can see, I'm just measuring, could I quick time Fangtooth and get some attacks in on Veteran Fangtooth, but the answer was no. So decide that Rage will charge Brisket. Again, I think my opponent forgot about Unpredictable at this stage, but then knew perhaps I could quick time myself back in, so perhaps it wasn't worth it. Get a Momentous 1, followed by with a wrap to the Momentous 1 on the charge, followed by Momentous 3, Momentous 3, Momentous 2, and finally a Momentous 2, leaving her on 1 and knocked down, essentially to set her up for the start of next turn. And obviously, as you can see, I've got commanding momentum advantage. So going into turn 2, the Order have 1 momentum, Union have 12. Order choose Play It to the Crowd, which I believe is the cheaper snapshots, and I play Break Out the Knives because Union need more tack in a veteran rage team. Sadly, because I didn't have Strongbox, I wasn't going to get up to crazy amounts of tack. I find Strongbox is a bit too slow to deal with fast goal scoring teams, so therefore I tend to bring Coin in that particular matchup. So, as you can see, hefty whack of influence there on Minx and on Rage, and a little bit scattered around the rest of the team. Remembering that currently Fangtooth has the ball on my side as well. So, I've actually got enough space to jog Minx so that she's both engaging Brisket and Fangtooth. My opponent left just enough space for her to be able to do that. And as Brisket is knocked down and on a single HP, might as well go finish her off. So I go in, make the attack, and I choose again that non-momentous 1 marked target to break the resilience on veteran Fangtooth. So that gets me the takeout. So it takes us to 4-2 in favour of the Order. So now I attack Fangtooth, get a momentous 3 damage, dodge, snared, everything else lovely that Minx does. Because obviously remember Minx is currently attack 6. She then does a momentous 2 and a momentous 4 damage and chooses to stay where she is. Although, does she back to the shadows? No, she back to shadows into base to base with veteran Fangtooth. So now my opponent's looking at, can Spigot go in and tackle the ball from Fangtooth? From my Fangtooth. Sorry, it was me waving Break Out the Knives at the camera just to say, oh look, I managed to get it finally. He says finally on his third game with the new plot cards. So it should be noted that Spigot at the moment, because of Fangtooth's rough ground aura and because of the snared, he'd be at -4/-4 movement, so he does need to pass that ball of light to be able to get anywhere. So after a bit of deliberation, he chooses to pass it to his own Fangtooth, which he does do successfully, and then dodges himself 4 inches off that particular pass. But here you can see there's a lot of planning and figuring out where does stuff go, how can he actually get there. Obviously reminding him that Fangtooth has resilience. We did realise afterwards we played a rule slightly wrong here, and that when Spigot goes in he's going to go into Rage, but we for some reason worked out that he could trigger Ball's Gone off Rage but then take the ball off Fangtooth if he was engaging Fangtooth, which we think in hindsight is wrong. I'm pretty sure it's wrong. So we'll have to obviously chalk that down to a confusion because of the fact that we were both a bit tired during the game. So there you go, there's the dodge from Spigot, and he's going to charge Rage. Now I believe Rage both defensive stances and counter attacks. Yes, he does. So makes him a 5-1. So there's a mighty total of a single point of damage goes into Rage. Wasn't able to get the tackle. Then I counter attack and with a bonus time and do the 3 damage concussion, because I'm like, nope, you can lose a bit of that influence. He's down to 1 influence, so he can't get the ball anyway now, and then take a shot on goal, even with us confusing the rule. But he chooses a Ball's Gone on the next attack, basically, which again, as previously discussed, was wrong. That's our bad. We confused the rule a bit. Either way, Spigot's got the ball sat there now. So I'm going to activate Rage next. You know, we've got knives. We might as well make this a legendary turn. So Rage pops his legendary and attacks Spigot. So he gets a momentous 3 up to 4 and a push. So makes it so that both Grace and Fangtooth are engaging Spigot. We do a momentous 4 up to 5 with a wrap to the momentous 1 up to 2. And the third attack does a momentous 3 up to 4 and takes out Spigot, which takes us to 4-all. So then I'm going to choose to furiously charge veteran Fangtooth, who, remember, is engaged by one of my players and is snared, so he's a defense 1 armor 2 at the moment. So we do a momentous 4 up to 5, and we wrap to the momentous 3 up to 4, and we get the final attack, and we bonus time it, and we get a momentous 3 up to 4, and we take out Veteran Fangtooth as well. So, should be noted the original ball scattered and is now behind Benediction, and the ball of light scattered and is next to my Fangtooth. It's not snapped. I chose to leave it unsnapped with Fangtooth. Not a huge fan of taking that 4 damage, at least not unless I really need to. So, yeah, that's it. Pride will Predatory Gaze, and then I will activate my Grace, who will Quick Foot via Talisman Fangtooth, sprint and snap the ball and run back towards my own goal. Because frankly, I don't really want to give the ball back to the order at this stage. My opponent will jog his Benediction to the other side of the barrier to engage my Rage, buys a Braced and Sturdy, and attacks Rage twice, gets a momentous push and a momentous double push, but leaves him where, I don't know if it just pushes him out of melee perhaps. Yeah, there you go, pushes him to basically try and block Fangtooth. So Coin's going to bag of coffers himself, jog and attack Benediction, basically to get rid of Braced, because I don't like it. He does declare Poised actually, and manages to fluff the roll and get nothing. There's some confusion here where he thinks he's got the push, but no, he forgot that Coin had armour, essentially. So it's a little unfortunate there with the roll, but sets him up. So now he's trying to figure out, or am I trying to figure something out? Oh yeah, I'm being wary of the Lion's counter charge. Grace basically does nothing on my opponent's side. She stays where she is, puts Quick Foot on Pride, just to allow the counter charge further if he needs to. So Benediction's going to go and attack Benediction and get a momentous double push to push him out of cover. So he's still only engaged by Coin and Benediction, but then my Fangtooth's going to go. He's going to unleash himself, jog and snap the ball of light, but unsnap the ball of light partway round his jog. Goes base to base with Benediction, buys an attack, gets a momentous 4 up to 5, counter attacks and triggers resilience, followed by another attack of momentous 4 up to 5, followed by a final attack of momentous 2 up to 3, and heals himself by 4 for the end of the turn. So as you can see again, I've got a commanding momentum advantage. My opponent has 1 and I have 10. So going into the next turn, I'm going to get initiative. It's very likely I'm going to take Benediction out and then potentially wail on some other models that my opponent has. So my opponent plays Raw Enthusiasm, puts it on Benediction, and I play Hit 'em Where It Hurts, which is the -1 armour, and also put it on Benediction. You can see a pattern there. He does then whack a bunch of influence on Benediction and jog some models on. So start attacking Benediction with Fangtooth. So what you can see Spigot at the bottom of the screen. Brisket is just the other side of him actually, sorry, which is cut off by the angle of the camera. So my Fangtooth is going to go. I'm going to attack Benediction, do a momentous 4, followed by a second attack with a momentous 4, wraps to the momentous knockdown, but gets the takeout. So that makes it 4-8 in favour of the Union. Benediction is actually going to jog on just at the bottom of the screen now, which you'll see just the other side of Spigot when he gets there. Again, we had a little bit of confusion here with Raw Enthusiasm. The -1 armour should have stayed on Benediction. It's not relevant for the rest of the turn, but it's worth pointing that out, that effects stay, but conditions don't when someone jogs back on. So I believe what happens next, we've got Fangtooth is going to run away with the ball. No, he's going to sprint backwards, collect the ball of light, get the free pass from my Benediction to my Grace with a bonus time, which succeeds. So they're both taking another 4 damage, and then Grace dodges 4 inches to get away from this horrible mess down the bottom of Spigot and Brisket that's come back on. So my opponent's Grace is going to sprint after quick footing herself and then target Brisket with a talismaned quick foot. My Grace is going to quick foot herself and jog, thanks to Talisman, so she's now up the top end of the screen, well away from my opponent's models, with both balls. Pride comes on, goes for a bit of a jog, make sure he stays in range. My Coin jogs, puts Bag of Coffers on Benediction. My opponent's Benediction puts Stand Firm on Brisket and sprints himself, which you just be able to see just coming on at the bottom of the screen now. And then he puts Braced on himself as well. So my Minx is going to go. She's going to jog base to base with Pride and start hitting him. So we're going to get a momentous 2 damage snared on the first attack, and the counter attack does a 2 damage and predatory gaze. I then make a couple of other attacks, so we get a momentous 1 damage, a momentous 3 damage, and a non-momentous 3 marked target, because I don't like Fangtooth having resilience, you may have noticed. I'm then going to back to the shadows just to make sure that I'm going to be well out of his threat range, although I don't think he's got any influence on him, so in hindsight maybe I should have stayed engaging Pride to stop the counter attack, the counter charge even. My opponent's going to jog his veteran Fangtooth. My Benediction braces himself, sprints, and puts Sturdy on rage. Basically, I'm just trying to get in the way so that and pull my models away from him so we can't generate any momentum from the Spigot Brisket mess that's going on down the bottom of the screen right now. My opponent just sprints Spigot. I look at what can I do with rage. I'm going to quick time myself because I've got to block myself in with my snake. Then I'm going to furiously charge, get a knockdown, and wrap to a momentous 2. Then just buy a bunch of attacks. So I do a momentous 2, momentous 1, and momentous 1, and leave the line on 1 knockdown and snared. So the line is currently a 1-1 and engaged by rage. My opponent then spends ages trying to figure out what he can do with Brisket, realises that Route 1 has to target, and the only thing he can target if he runs over that fast ground is Fangtooth. Fangtooth obviously has the resilience, so actually, in the end, I think he pretty much wastes everything that's on Brisket and just leaves her there. Again, a little bit confident in the logic. Oh, there we go. There's a little bit of movement there where he forgot that actually he couldn't Route 1 Fangtooth because Route 1 isn't self-targeting. It targets an opponent and you need to roll to hit. So in the end, he decides to stay there, knowing that actually unpredictable movement might keep him a little bit safe. So again, we're looking going into the next turn. Order have 0 momentum, Union have 10 momentum. So I play Form a Wall in the off chance I can get anyone near enough the goal to trigger it. I'm just currently measuring out, can Grace go get a goal? Given I'm currently at 8 points, the answer is no. Even with, I believe, my opponent plays the card that we basically each give a model +2/+2 movement, and I still can't get there with Grace. So mostly because I need to generate momentum, that's the issue first. So foolishly, instead of just then whacking a bunch on Grace to then score later after I take the lion out perhaps, I then just decide, you know what, let's just go kill a bunch of models again. So we put the +2/+2 move tokens out, and I put mine on Minx, my opponent put his on Spigot. And then we're going to go for I believe, is it a sprint? No, it's a nice 9-inch jog with Minx, because that's what she can do when she gets +2/+2 move. Yeah, she's a tad fast, even normally with a 7-inch. So again, she does what she did earlier against Brisket and Fangtooth. She goes and stands between the two of them so she can hit both of them. So she attacks Pride, gets a non-momentous 3 marked target to trigger the resilience off Fangtooth. Takes us to 4-9 in favour of the Union. Attacks Fangtooth, gets a momentous 2 damage dodge and snared, followed by a momentous 3 damage to dodge into cover, and a momentous 1 damage dodge, and then heals herself for 4 at the end of it. Knowing as well that Fangtooth is now on a little lower health. So Fangtooth is going to get an activation while he can, and he's going to attack Minx, who does declare a counter-attack. He does 2 damage to me. My counter-attack does 3 damage back, just because of how Minx works. She's pretty hard. His second attack is a knockdown double push to knock me down and push me out of cover. And then his final attack does is it momentous 3? Yeah. Rage is going to go next. Just going to charge Fangtooth. Let's go kill him. Momentous 1, momentous 1, and momentous 1 to get the takeout. Turns out he only had 3 HP left, which I hadn't really planned on, so actually I end up with a couple of influence left on Rage. So that takes it to 4-11 in favour of the Union. Should be noted at this point, I have a complete brain derp and forget that I've taken the lion out, so I think I'm only on 10 points. It's relevant for next turn. I stand Minx up and then quick time her forward, so she's in threat range of Spigot for some reason and not in the cover. I'm not quite sure why I did that. Clearly a mistake. I think we just got greedy. So Spigot's going to charge Minx, who does defensive stance and counter attack, but he just takes the knockdown, does 1 damage and then 2 damage with his follow-up attacks. I'm going to activate coin. Just going to bag a coffer's benediction. because I can't get in range to go engage Brisket. So I bag a Cough's Benediction and jog away, basically. Opponent's Grace is going to quick foot herself and then charge Minx. And she managed to do quite good, actually. She managed to get a momentous 2 and a non-momentous 1 on the charge, followed by a momentous 2 on the next attack and a non-momentous 1 for a takeout. So actually, he manages to get rid of Minx, which is unfortunate for me, obviously, and takes it to 6-11 in favour of the Union. So he's coming back. It's just whether or not he can get that ball. So Benediction chooses to charge Brisket because unfortunately I can't jog and just go hit her a bunch of times. So I'm going to charge her with my bag of coffers attack and get a momentous double push and bring her closer to us. I'm then going to get a second attack and get another momentous double push. And I'm going to basically invite Brisket to come play with me in Fangtooth because that is a horrible situation to try and leave her in when I've got various bits and pieces up, because it forces her to attack Benediction rather than Fangtooth, because Fangtooth has resilience and a knockdown. So Brisket attacks Benediction, gets, and I declare the counter attack poised. He gets the double dodge, so I bonus time my counter attack and get a 2 damage push, double push, sorry. So I just bring her straight back into exactly the same position she was just in and give her some damage. So she then starts buying attacks on him, does a 1 damage dodge, followed by the second, which takes her to the edge of the 1-inch melee, followed by a momentous double dodge to get herself out of the melee. So for anyone counting, that's currently 3 attacks. She's then going to have to spend momentum to glide to go round Fangtooth, and she sprints and then throws a route 1 at Coin. Now this hits, and she manages to then, I believe, go jog base to base or close enough to base with Coin. You know, she's going after that, after the ball pretty hard, and then not really sure what my plan was here with Fangtooth. He's got 3 influence. He can't really do anything. He can't get anywhere. But I think I throw him off towards Brisket just to extend his rough ground aura. For some reason, I go engage her. I'm not sure why. When I could have just stopped far enough away from her to stop it. But basically, I force her to trigger unpredictable movement, although not really for any benefit at this stage. So, again, perhaps not the wisest of choices. Maybe I should have tried to sandwich her in between Fangtooth and Coin. Either way, going into the next turn, Order have 6 momentum. I have 0. I play the Rough Ground is Fast Ground card. There's no Rough Ground on the pitch. I was running out of cards. And my opponent plays Orange Slices to heal all his models currently on the pitch by 2 HP, which is quite useful for him. Means also my opponent has initiative. You can probably see the clocks here at the moment are both under 4 minutes. So we're running quite close to time. And just a reminder, it is currently 6:11. So jog Minx on. And my opponent's going to go with Brisket. So she's going to attack Coin. For some stupid reason, I decided to declare a counter attack. I thought I could get the constrict on the counter attack, but in hindsight, looking at it, I can't because she's got an armour. So even if I was able to bonus time it, I'd need all 3 to hit, but I can't bonus time it because I've just spent my momentum. It was a bloody stupid thing to do. Yeah, it happens. My counter attack does nothing as it happens. So then, after she's dodged out, she's going to jog and attack Grace. I believe she must have got a double dodge or something off Coin. And then she's going to go in, she's going to tackle Grace with the tackle dodge. And then she's going to take a bonus timed shot on the goal. I think maybe she attacks Grace another time to get another dodge. And then she's going to take a bonus timed shot on the goal. And she's going to score it. So actually that takes it currently to 10-11 in favour of the Union. And now I lose the game because I'm an idiot. So what I could have done here is activate Rage and just go kill Pride. You know, I've got 5 attacks, one of which is a charge. There is no way I'm not going to kill Pride. But I forget that I'm on 11 points and think I'm on 10 points. So instead I choose to charge Grace and then completely and utterly forget that Pride has countercharge. So Pride comes in and just countercharges me and knocks me down. So that's an entire waste of an activation from Rage. You know, a whole 5 influence gone there. I've got no momentum. Potentially Grace can go score if I can generate momentum. The plan was gonna be to get a dodge off passing the ball of light to my own Fangtooth, and then sprinting or charging possibly the lion, bouncing off him and then scoring the goal. But what happens instead is Spigot jogs and attacks Rage, and because I'm knocked down and he's got 2 friends, he does 4 damage, followed by 3 damage, followed by rapping to do 5 damage, and rapping to do 5 damage, and takes out Rage. So actually it's 12-11 in favour of the Order. So yeah, overall, really not my best performance there. A couple of silly mistakes, but I was quite happy with the positioning and the lead I managed to get early in the game. It's just unfortunate that I misplayed some of the bits at the end. So thanks for watching.